I was assigned an at-grade level first grade student, Dallin, and was fortunate enough to be able to work with Dallin throughout all of my assessments. We began our assessments with the core phonics assessment, where in alphabetic skills and letter sounds, Dallin mastered both sections A and B, letter names upper and lowercase, scoring 26 out of 26 in both, as well as mastering section D, long vowel, short vowel sounds, as he scored 5 out of 5 in both. He scored 20 out of 21 in C, consonant sounds, placing Dallin at the top of the strategic level with the final score of 82 out of 83. In reading and decoding skills, Dallin scored 10 out of 15 in section E, short vowel in CVC words. So this is where I would begin working with Dallin either one-on-one or in small group activities. He continued to score in the intensive area for that sections F, G, H, I, J, K, and L with a total score of 50 out of 129 points. We then continued on to the Wiley-Blevins Phonemic Awareness Assessment, where Dallin scored 6 out of 6 in both A and B of rhyme, as well as 6 out of 6 in both C and D of oddity tasks, and 6 out of 6 in both E and F oral blending. Dallin scored 5 out of 6 points in section G, where he missed the amount of syllables in elephant. He scored 6 out of 6 in H. He self-corrected 2 words to score 6 out of 6 in section I. And he scored 5 out of 6 in section J, where he mispronounced the letter sounds K and S as one phoneme X. In phonemic manipulation, Dallin scored 6 out of 6 in both sections of K. We then moved on to the CRI assessment, where, according to the sentences Dallin read, I placed him at level 2, where he read the passage The Pig and the Snake. I first had Dallin read the story to himself and then asked him to retell the story to me. He was able to tell me that the pig pulled the snake out of a hole, but not give me further details, so I referred to my question and answers sheet, where he continued to answer questions with prompts, scoring correctly 1, 2, 3, and 4. He was not able to give me information for 5, 6, 7, and 8. He then read the story to me, where I followed his reading and scored Dallin with 3 errors in omissions, and he made 1 self-correction for a total of 3 errors. When I scored Dallin later, he showed very good fundamental and word attack behaviors. His fluency was reading word by word with mixed phrasing. In performance summary, for silent reading comprehension, Dallin made 3 or more errors, informing me the passage was too difficult. And in oral reading accuracy, he did score adequately with 2 to 5 errors, but I went ahead and had Dallin read level 1. As Dallin read level 1, You Cannot Fly, he read to himself first, and then with prompting, answered questions 1 through 4 correctly, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8, he was not able to provide me with either correct or any detail. So I had Dallin then read the story orally to me, and as I followed him, he made 3 substitution errors. He had 1 teacher assist and 3 omission errors with 1 self-correction for a total of 7 errors. Again, going to the fundamental and word attack behaviors, he did very well. Words were read word by word, and performance summary, he still showed 3 or more errors for the passage being too difficult, as well as in oral reading accuracy being too difficult with 6 or more oral errors. So this was a little confusing for me, since he did better with the level 2 reading and the oral reading accuracy, but I did not have time to further test Dallin as he had to go to lunch. After that, we moved on to Words Their Way, where Dallin scored 6 words spelled correctly, and in the emergent stage for consonants, initial consonants he scored 7 out of 7, and final consonants he scored 7 out of 7. In letter name alphabet for short vowels, he scored 7 out of 7. For digraphs, he scored 7 out of 7. And for blends, he scored 6 out of 7, showing a much improvement just since they did the core phonics survey. He scored 0 out of 7 in the within word long vowel patterns. So this is where I would begin working with Dallin. And he scored 0 with 7 out of 7 for other vowels. He scored 2 out of 7 for inflected endings and had a total of 36 out of 56 feature points and 42 out of 82 total points. Again, I placed Dallin in the long vowel patterns of within word pattern. Moving on to the next assessment, we did a writing assessment. Dallin wrote his narration on Tell Me About a Time When I Laughed. His sentences read, When me and my brother laughed so hard, I made up stories. It was so funny. I have the rubrics copied here, and I scored Dallin for focus and sufficient, as I do feel like all of his sentences pertain to the writing assignment. Pertain to his narration of time that he laughed. For content, I scored Dallin in developing content limited to a listing, repetition, or mere sequence of ideas. I do feel that he did not elaborate on his ideas. It was just a mere sequence of ideas. For organization, I also scored Dallin in developing, as it states inconsistent organization with a few transitions. I do know that transition words are a part of the first grade core standards, and he did not use any transitional words, but he did have some organization, so I put him in the developing stage. For style, I placed Dallin in sufficient, as he did use a variety in sentence structure and precision in word choice. All his word choices were very adequate for telling his story. Conventions, I placed Dallin in mechanical and usage errors seriously interfere with understanding for insufficient category, as he did not use any correct capitalization, punctuation. He really basically just wrote one big long sentence. So according